Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to my reading of Identity Quest. So, last time, Mukhara, Radha Sundar, and Krishna Kripa made their way to Cafe Florida, and they are now resting. Kripa has chanted, and it's moment between mom and son right now, basically. Spoiler alert. Okay. Okay, so let's just read there. But before he'd even begin to calm his previous memory, he heard a knock on his door. He almost groaned out loud. I hope it's not Fujiwara again. Krishna Kripa was just tired of answering questions. He just wanted to rest and meditate, and put the whole sequence of events behind him, preparing for what would come next. He also needed to mourn something his aunt said he should do. He had lost 2 father figures yesterday, a pair of teachers, a pair of dear well-wishers. And he also had to deal with the fact that his entire life had been this one huge lie, a mere play for the sick pleasure of a hermit, a dungeon master with little care for his pawns. Kripa had quickly learned that trying to be a man, or bottling up his emotions, would not work with his mother. And Radha had quipped that being a man didn't mean to hide his emotion And Radha had quickly quipped that being a man didn't mean to hide his emotion until they blew up. It meant to learn how to deal with them. So he did. By the way, if you want to have the best example of a non-toxic male character in a fantasy setting, look no further than Aragorn. Yeah, from Aragorn from Lord of the Ring. If you want to have someone who's healthy, happy, and well-balanced, that's the guy. It was a terrible feeling. But knowing that they were souls and thus didn't really die help. He would miss them though. And didn't Krishna said that he would take birth again in 1 year, a human birth? As he dried his tears, Kripa thanked Krishna with all of his heart. Manabu and Nikari were out. They wouldn't have to fight for survival anymore. Kripa, it's me, Mukhara. His returned mother spoke, breaking him out of his meditation. I want to speak to you. Kripa sighed and got off his seat to answer his mother. No, he would not stop calling her that. It felt natural, grounding, and God, Krishna knew he needed it. After he opened the door, his mother stood there, looking at him. She looked rather uncomfortable. Were she not a prince, oh hey, something else, she would probably be shuffling anxiously. Hey, please don't call me that. Mukhara spoke quickly, her eyes downcast. It's not about you, Kripa, it's... She sighed as she ran a hand in her platinum hair. Can I... She probably wants to get in. Kripa removed himself from the doorway and admitted his mother in. I need to work on this chapter, but I'm also already working on re-editing the coronavirus, and oh yeah, it shows I was not using Grammarly. It's terrible. Mukhara took a seat on the chair. It was clear she had something heavy in her heart. Kripa took his seat on a funky cushion on the floor, close to her without appearing creepy. So, what do you want to speak about? Kripa asked as he still held his mother's prayer beads. It was comforting. The tulasi beads felt like a group of old friends dancing in his hands, telling him not to worry. Krishna will arrange everything. He knew what he was doing. Mokara blushed. Oh boy. Um, to be honest, I just wanted to be with you. Not in a creepy sort of way. Just, it's all right, Mom. You missed me. Understatement of the century. Mokara hitched her shoulder. Kripa, please, you don't need to force yourself. I'm my mom in this lifetime. Krishna Kripa kindly grinned. At that point, he had understood that it would be easier on his sanity to just go along with it. His mother raised her eyes meeting with Kripa. Yeah, I wrote that some time back. I'm bit of a better writer right now, I hope. Kripa, hey, I thought I was an orphan adopted by a pair of hunters. It's nice to have my mom back, Kripa beamed. Krishna Kripa Prabhu, you don't have to do this. You're right, I don't have to, but I want to, Kripa said with conviction. So, now what? Oh God, that's terrible. Mokara looked at him, her golden eyes filled with tears, and yet gratitude stubbornly shone in them in despite everything. I need to rewrite that. I need to work on everything. After a moment, she sighed. Well, I and my god-sister Mandodari managed to convince Fujiwara and your father about the illusory nature of this realm. So we're getting out soon? And how about Yuki? Kripa asked, anxious to save his little brother from 2 lifetimes ago. His mother shook her head. No, not yet. Getting in a hermitage is easy, but to extract thousands of people takes time. Years, really, Mokara explained. Right now, those who are living here believe that this is reality. So to extract them and simply dump them without support in the earthly plane won't end well. We need to do this gradually. Yeah, that makes sense. To be thrown in a place he didn't have to struggle for survival would probably trigger some pretty intense bouts of paranoia. Meaning we just go along, right? Oh, I'm such a terrible writer. So I'm so sorry about that. Yes, but not completely. Mukara gave a playful smirk. We can indeed follow the intended path, but only as long as our ultimate goal is reached. But we are also permitted to mess with the place enough so that we can smoke out the controlling hermit. A devilish smile lit Krishna Kripa's face. Within reason, his mother cautions. Meaning? Meaning we do everything in our power to get your Yuki and mess with the established narrative enough that the hermit will face us, but not enough for him to delete his creation, Mukara warned. Krishna Kripa's eyebrows went up to his hairline. They can do that? It was so unsettling to know that someone could simply pull the plug and kill everyone at his whim. No, it won't happen if Krishna won't allow it. And if Krishna allows it, well, maybe he would wake up in the spiritual sky again, in a form suitable to serve his Krishna. His mother gravely nodded. But enough about that. I want to know everything about you. What do you like? How did you live? Who was your other mother? Who was your sister? And how did you meet our Supreme Lord Shri Krishna? I thought you didn't want to be my mother. Kripa smirked, and then a thought came to him. Did Dad told you anything about me? Kripa cautiously asked. He knew he was a deviant, and he was also aware that any self-respecting religious organization would frown upon his attraction. All right, so he was queer. He loved to wear long flowing dress, and he wasn't asexual too, but he still dated Hoshi, and this was a big bad secret since Hoshi was with Yashurakai, and it was known between them that neither of them were truly human to begin with. This was the leash Asahi held, and he just knew she sang. Nobody under her association would leave any secret uncovered, especially after the whole debacle. He did. His mother confirmed his worst fear. There you go. But from what I can hear from your desire, you desire the Lord only. Mokara spoke gently, and yet the Vaishnav monk could hear some warning in her voice. As long as you realize that you are not this body, and that you may only serve Shri Radha Krishna in a spiritual body bestowed by the mercy of Sri Guru, then no, I have no problem with you being gay. Queer. Just queer and asexual. Okay, so about this is a bit of a hot topic. Don't know if any of you have listened this far, which I highly doubt. But, okay. While some old school Vaishnav will not accept it, it is more and more accepted that, people of the queer community are more accepted. But there are still some rules and regulations. So once again, to practice Krishna consciousness, there are 4 do's and don'ts that, there are 4 regulative principles to follow, which has been following for 5 years. So the first one is, of course, no fish eating, no meat eating, no fish, no egg, no intoxication of any kind, no gambling, and no illicit sex, meaning sex that won't bestow children. So already right now, it's a bit harder. So the reason why we're not against homosexuality, we're against sex in general, like useless sex in general. So it may make us seem that we are, right-winger, and some actually are, but really, we just want people to be detoxified from it. And before you start raging on and on about how, yeah, but it feels good and it's natural, and if I don't do it, I get cancer. Well, no, actually not. So what you need to know is that to practice spiritual life, it means to use less your material body for material things. Material things means that which is used for your own pleasure. And while sex with a duly wedded wife can be used for the Lord, it is used to bring soul down and to give them a body so that they may start their spiritual life, continue their spiritual life, or finally be able to manifest in the material world. Because, there are 3 types of soul. There are a few types of soul that you can attract to a womb. Yes, men, this is for you. This is how you have great children. We're talking, you're having saints at 5-year-old, okay? Okay, I wouldn't go that far, but there has been Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who at 5-year-old vowed not to eat mangoes because he ate a mango that was not offered to the Lord. So his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, another pure devotee, just jokingly says, hey, you stole from Krishna. You shouldn't eat Krishna's mango when they're not offered. And little Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhaktivinoda was not even being hard on him. He was just being playful, playful teaching. But little Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhima Prasad, was so traumatized by what he'd done that he swore off mango. And even to this day, when it is this appearance day, we don't offer him anything with mangoes because he will not eat it. So if you join with your spouse at night in a dirty place, at an inauspicious time, you will attract ghosts. Because, ghosts do exist. A body is like an ogre. It has layers. The first layer, the one we see, that's called the gross layer. The second layer, which is ironically bigger than the first layer, is the subtle body, which is the mind, the sense, and the false ego, and also the intelligence. And actually, I've read this book, The Power of Hands. It's about Reiki, and it explains how a subtle body is. And no, it's not hodgepodge. Your subtle body is there. And yes, this body, just like the gross body, can be wounded. It's called, when a mental body is wounded, it's usually called depression. When there are ghosts controlling you, it can also be, a friend. So yeah, mental illness is caused by an imbalance in the subtle body. I'm not saying that you can cure it, but for those, something like depression, something like multiple personality disorder, and even in some cases, epilepsy. If somebody has epilepsy, worship Shiva, because there's a demon that causes epilepsy. And before you say, oh, that's just hodgepodge, no, not at all. Everything is controlled by your personality, even illness, even sin, even the air. Actually, the Ashwini Kumaras, it's a pair of twins. They are great doctors. They control the air coming in and out of our nostrils. And we have demigods who control our blinking, and demigods who control growth spurt, and demigods who controlled evacuation. His name is Mitra. So, yes, the subtle energy is there, the subtle body is there. Now, and then of course, in the middle of that is the soul made of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, and the soul has nothing to do with them. Those are just coverings. And the soul is covered by it, and so because of the false ego, the soul believes, I'm this body, I'm this person, I'm from this land, I'm from this family. It's identifying with something, and many times this something is something you're not. Because the soul is not from here, guys. We're alien to this place. So anyway, when someone dies before his time, suicide, or is so attached to a person, a place, an object, or has too much anger, he will remain here. He will not move on to Patalaloka. He will not go to Swarga. He has good pious credit. No, he stayed there. And if someone suicide, there's only one reason suicide is okay. And it's just tolerated, and that's only because you're suffering so much that other people are suffering with you. Then okay, to pray to have another body quickly and to fast unto death or to go to a holy place is tolerated, and I say that as it's tolerated, but you still should not do it unless you have an extremely, and I'm talking not just you, not just your mind telling you, it's, you've looked at every single possibility and, you're in such pain. And I'm not talking mental pain. I'm talking about, morphine doesn't work anymore, and a bit more and you're dead, sort of. And it's like this type of pain that you can't. Then you have to pray to God. First of all, you have to be God conscious. You cannot do that if you're an atheist, because if you're an atheist, you'll just become a ghost. And you pray like, oh my Lord, this body is useless right now. Please, let me leave it and take another one in your service. And you need to keep that promise. Otherwise, you cannot cheat God, guys. You can't cheat him at all. Otherwise, tolerate. tolerate, get help. Go with the people who love you. Speak, open up. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have dark feelings. It's okay to get help. It's okay to admit that you're weak and that you cannot do something. It's okay to admit that you're not with the right person. It's okay to admit that a pandemic was hard and that you're tired of carrying everybody's crap on your back. It's all right. It's fine. You don't have to be a superhero. We're not superhero. We're human beings. Even the demigods go and seek help. Even Krishna will go and seek help. Even God has emotions. Even God cries. Even God gets depressed. Of course, his depression is another side of bliss. We don't have that. So yeah, you become a ghost. As a ghost, you take shelter of Mahadev. This is another reason why you have to be God conscious, because otherwise you just won't approach him and you'll just linger around suffering, because being a ghost is not nice. Your senses are... Yeah, okay, actually, that I've just realized I'm going a bit too off topic, but yeah, it's not nice. So basically, being a family life means you bring souls down. Souls who are souls who are, who are waiting to take birth. This is another reason why we're not for pro-choice, because really, it's not really a choice. Because whose choice is it? That little soul who's in the womb, who's been praying to have a human form of birth, which is super rare, by the way, or to the mom who, chances are, she's just saying, no, I don't want to carry that thing, because, well, she doesn't want to let go of her big, beautiful, cushy life. She doesn't want to sacrifice. And being a parent means sacrifice. Which is why we say no illicit sex, because illicit sex, there's no sacrifice, meaning you have sin. Sin means you're stealing pleasure and you're trying to be the enjoyer. And by being the enjoyer, you cause other souls to suffer. That's the cause of sin. It's not just because you didn't follow your parish. It's because of causing another person pain. Mental pain, physical pain, financial pain. If you cause any living entity anxiety, it's sin. That's why we don't eat meat. That's why we are not for abortion, except for those extreme cases, but those are rare and in between, and no, it's not a go-ahead. It has to be, a life or death decision. And this is why we're doing our best to be kind to everyone. Because God doesn't like us to fight. It's just like mom and dad don't want you to fight with your sibling. Well, the supreme mom and dad also doesn't want us to hurt our siblings. Makes sense, no? So yeah. And so this is basically the main reason why we're against... Okay, another reason why we're against illicit sex is because it's bringing you to body consciousness. You're talking only... Okay, basically, look at what you're thinking. The lowest possible thought, you are where you think. You are where the mind is. If your mind is toward your genital, you're always thinking extremely low. We're talking animal thoughts. Animals have three things they will think about: food, protection, reproduction, and sleep. But, actually those are the four principles of animal life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So if a human think only of those four, well, you're basically just an animal. So next life you'll take birth as an animal and your human form of birth has been wasted. So personally, I am a nun, meaning, I didn't get any action down there for more than 5 years. And you know what? It feels so much better. Oh no, It's instead of always thinking about this type of pleasure, always thinking about how to get the maximum out, and being feeling rejected, and having those, you don't have to think about it. It's not necessary. It's like, yeah, sure, you can have a big bad sports car, but you can also just walk to the grocery store. And if the grocery store is too far, then do you really, really need the biggest, baddest car? No, because if you live alone, a smart can do it. And if you need more than a smart, then you can take another type of car. So that's the same thing. It's, yes, you can have it, but don't have it over. So, yeah, basically that's this is the one hot topic. And as for couples, a pair of spouse, yeah, right, I was talking about yeah, okay, the being part of the LGBT plus community and being a Hare Krishna. Yeah, no, that was a bit a huge annex of a thought I had. Well, you're accepted, but don't try to make this marriage legal, because for us, marriage, it's not just a beautiful ceremony. You're basically making a contract in front of God that you're taking this soul beside you to help you go back to Godhead, to help you control your senses, that you will not enjoy it, because you know that this soul belongs to the Lord, and that yes, you will bring good souls down, and you will train and elevate those souls as the platform of minimum a highly elevated human, maximum pure devotee of the Lord, and this takes an entire lifetime, possibly more. So, but if you and your significant other are wishing to practice Krishna consciousness, yeah, of course you can. You have the four executive principles, Prabhupada's book, the Mahamantra, take association, serve at a temple. I mean, come on, I have a pair of God brothers who are serving. And yes, they have been serving for years, and they are well known in the movement because they're pujaris. And they're following everything. They are ideal grihastas. And it's all right. Okay, moving on. I think I've done a bit too much of a stop. If you have questions, please ask me. Don't expect me to be kind for those who are trying to change the world, but I will try to be at least polite. Now that you'll hear what I said right now. Okay, so Krishna Kripa cringed. He never wanted to put a name on his type of identity. And to hear his mother say it, don't worry. Don't worry, I don't want to waste my time. While it was blurry, he still remembered the heartbreak Yuki had gone through and his own. No, he may not be matching what society wanted, but it was still his choice to act on it or not. He was a punk. It was his duty to go against the sheep's expectation. His mother burst into laughter.
No mail, eh? No mail?
Sorry, that was another one. Oh, wow. Oh, yes, please. I bless you that you will never follow what the so-called normal human society expect of you, my son. May you eternally serve the greatest servant of the Lord. A smile lighted Krishna Kripa's face. Also, I'm sure you've noticed the little fish bones. Yeah, I don't know why, but LibreOffice went a bit crazy on this one. A smile lit Krishna Kripa's face. And thus hours went by as Kripa opened up about everything, same with his mother, knowing how they were, who they were, their mistakes, their triumphs, and Nanashi's most fortunate encounter with one Narada Muni, and a full day with the Lord. After that, his mother began to massage his feet, telling him that he had walked for so long that it was her duty to make sure he was well, healthy and happy. I need to re-edit that. Kripa would have loved to return the favor, but without legs, no feet could be served. By the end of it, both mother and son could not help but love one another in a way only servant of Krishna, a pair of Gaudiya Vaishnav, could. It was a love beyond comprehension, a love that was spontaneous and unbridled, a love untainted by lust. So let me get this straight. You're the ancient prince of Japan, now a trans-magical hermit who managed to get pregnant via yucca. Kripa resumed as he thought his identity was crazy. And I'm like a clone of yucca, but not really? Well, not really. What you just said is only... Well, not really. What you just said is only my material identity. I, the soul, is eternally the servant of the servant of Krishna, the ocean of all pleasure. Mukhara spoke with a smile as she migrated to the floor right beside her son. And while you started as one of her clones, your sojourn in my womb gave you enough of my DNA that your body really is that of my son. Mukhara explained. Oh God, I need to work. I need to Grammarly everything. All right then. Kripa shrugged it off happily. At least one mystery had been solved. So, do you know who you are, like your eternal identity? He then asked. I do, Mukhara nodded, but it's private. Like every relationship, she mildly scolded. Krishna can reveal it, but until the Lord or our spiritual master lead us back to Godhead, we have to deal with the world with our material identity. And by following the rules dictated by the Vedas, the previous Acharyas' words, and elder Vaishnavas who have been practicing for longer than you. Oh, Kripa lowered his eyes. The reason why we have to follow rules and regulations is simple. If we can't follow them, then it means that we are listening to our false ego, and not to Krishna or dear well-wisher. Mukhara further explained. That's why so few have joined the Bhakti movement. We have to give up so-called freedom and be shackled by rules and regulation. But with those guidelines, remembering Krishna and controlling our mind and senses become easier. And it proves to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that we are sincere about returning back home, back to Godhead, back to our eternal service and identity. Yeah, it makes sense. Kripa agreed as he brought a knee to his chest. Talking about Krishna felt great, but he still missed him. Kripa, his mother broke him out of his musing, putting a doll-like hand to his knee comfortingly. Never stop missing him. But don't you ever consider the mercy received as something cheap, she warned. What you have received is not quite unheard of, but it's definitely not common. Kripa averted his eyes. I have no idea why Bhagavan Shri Krishna or even Narada would show themselves to you. I can only speculate that it was by your sacrifice. But really, it was by his own will only, nothing more than that. Kripa made a noise at the back of his throat. God is free to act as he desires, and we, his atomic part and parcels, can only play along, hoping that one day he may reside in our heart. And what if, Kripa began, for you don't need to worry. No one needs to worry. Mukhara spoke sweetly, gently caressing the face of her son, freezing a bit before her artificial fingers shyly brushed against his cheeks. Kripa sighed as he ran a hand in his re-greening hair, a tired smile on his lips. Krishna's in control. We just need to be his instruments, he finished, knowing full well that just a few days ago he would probably commit suicide over willingly becoming God's instrument. Now, though, well, it's not like he wanted to go back. Krishna had sent him on an adventure with his mother, no less. Now, there was something else he had to know. Mom, how's Azahi? He asked. He hadn't heard of her since she had been almost choked by Maitreya, not even during the video conference. A quiet Azahi never bode well. She's fine, but Mr. Fujiwara and Skin revoked her hunter's license, and she's grounded, Mukara reported. As for you, Mukara continued, a fond smile playing on her lips, I think Mr. Skin would like to have a few words with you. Once again, the feeling of freezing cold water being systematically poured on his vein froze the son of Utica in place. The presence of the elder hunter was commanding and heavy with the burden he carried. And indeed, there he was, standing in the doorway as if he had been listening for hours, somehow merging with the dark decor. Nothing, okay. Nothing bad, kiddo. I was just passing by and, well, I'm just surprised you got along well with a complete stranger, the heavily scarred hunter commented. Krishna Kripa jumped to his feet and stood at attention at Skin, the unsinkable one. There was just something about the scarred warrior that commanded his full respect. At ease. I ain't here as a general. I just wanted to hang out with a worshipper of Krishna. Just to see how a genuine one act. He spoke kindly, his eyes soft and his posture relaxed and non-threatening. Krishna Kripa broke his salute, but still remained on his feet, wary of what the oldest hunter in Tokyo would do to his mother. Mokara arose also, giving her respect to the oldest surviving member of the hunter, and one who knew how the sky looked like. Sir, it is a pleasure to have you here. Please take a seat. She gestured to the couch. And as for me being a genuine servant of the Lord, I am afraid you are in for some severe disappointment. It's fine, ma'am. You can sit down. You gave birth to a fine young man. Skin praised as he sat down on the soft couch. A fine young man indeed. Mokara beamed as she folded her palms. Mr. Amada, if you want to praise someone, then please praise Krishna, for he is the one who gave me this soul to care for. She humbly spoke, and even that, I had no hand in his exceptional rearing. So, that's why you gave him the name Krishna Kripa. To be honest, I wanted to give him the name Govinda Vallabha, but his aunt was already calling him God's causeless mercy while he was still in my womb. The name stuck. She helplessly shrugged with a bright smile, causing Skin to smile as broad as his reattached face could permit. Yeah, I knew a guy like that. Lost contact with him around, I guess, 20 years ago. His face darkened for a bit. Anyway, reminiscing about the past is not the reason why I wanted to speak with you. I just wanted to speak with your son. Yes, you may. And I do believe it's not something private, is it? Mokara gave a knowing smile. No, ma'am. I just wanted to ask how a demon managed to slip under the radar for so long. Nothing against him. Skin informed the small family, his hands held up in a show of submission. Colored my hair, I wore glasses or contacts, and Dad made sure no one in our guild would sing about me being practically a human-shaped plant. It worked. Kripa shrugged. I see. And you've never wanted to eat a human? Oh, hell no. Krishna Kripa's face twisted in disgust. Can't even eat demon meat. How am I supposed to eat vanilla human? It was an open secret that the Onmondraki were made of reanimated human. Yeah, actually, if you read the lore of Shin Megami Tensei Apocalypse, on Moraki are reanimated human bodies. Yep, we're playing a cannibal. Skin raised his hand as a show of surrender. Alright, I believe you. Anyway, as long as you swear not to use this laser anymore. Oh, you mean the Master Spark? Sure, let's go with that. It depends. I will use it if those I care about are in danger. Otherwise, why would I pierce the celestial vault again? Krishna Kripa answered. Mr. Amada, I know you wanted to speak to my son, but I do believe I was the actual one you desired to speak to, isn't it? Mukara asked. Once again, it was clear she knew what the elder hunter wanted. Skin turned to the Vaishnavi, and while he had lost the ability to blush, it was clear that he had been caught red-handed. Well, yeah. Yeah. You see, I have some question about Krishna. The real one? The one you worship and, well, say no more and open your ears. I will answer all queries at the best of my abilities. And once again, Mukhara spoke. And once again, Kripa listened. So, Gurudev gave you the name Mukhara? Ananda Rupini asked her temporary roommate as she tried to fix her faulty knee and blocked hip joint. Did he tell you what it means? Yes. Mukhara is the name of Srimati Radharani's grandmother, the saintly Mukhara. It also means talkative and bold in speaking. Mukhara spoke from her spot on the floor. She looked so boyish in her pajama. And her hair. Where did Ananda saw it? Was it for an anime? I see. Yes, Maharaj really gave you a fitting name, Mukhara. Back at the present, Krishna Kripa could not hold a smile and tears back. Yes, his mother really wore her spiritual name like a glorious cape. And that's all I wrote for chapter... What was the chapter again? Chapter God's Plan Set in Motion. I hope I'll see you again later. You probably haven't heard anything. I won't ask you to leave a comment or anything like that. This is up to you.